There we go. Okay, I think we'll get started. So again, if you're first time joining one of the sessions, you might have watched some of the recordings of other ones, so you might already be familiar with how it goes. We're just going to talk very briefly for a few moments, and then we'll practice for about half an hour or so. And then we're going to talk more about what we did in the practice afterwards, and then also have time for Q&A about anything relating to Qigong or whatever's going on. So we had a request in the last session for something to do with fear, so releasing fear, and so that's what we're going to focus on today in our session. So just a little bit of theory about that, so it'll help you to follow what we're doing in the session more. Again, we will talk more about it afterwards. So fear primarily relates to the water element, and specifically, well, the kidneys and the bladder. It's a yin-yang relationship, but a lot to do with the kidneys, because we have the adrenal glands which sit right on top of the kidneys. And of course, related to fear, we release adrenaline. And so when there's that stimulation to the adrenal glands, it also stimulates the kidneys. So if we have fear, is not a bad thing. There's a lot of nuance to it. But if we have excessive fear, what happens is that stimulation becomes too strong, and we tend to lock up around the kidneys. And this means that we also lock up around the lower back in the area where the kidneys are. Either that or we go weak in the lower back. So it either becomes very stiff or very weak. Also, when we're fearful, we tend to pull in, versus when we're relaxed and confident, we expand out. So we're going to work with some of these principles to remedy that, to release fear or clear fear, and to make our kidneys healthy and get them active and moving. If we think of levels of fear, there's fight, flight, freeze. So the most extreme is freeze, when we've locked up. So we're going to do some things to gently get things moving to break out of the freeze, and then we will move into specifically activating the water. And we'll talk about some interesting theory relating to some of that at the end. Anyway, that's enough of that. We'll get into the practice. So we'll start just loosening up. If we bring our hands together, we'll do some joint rotations. Just starting with our wrists, just to get things moving. Each of us is at different times of the day. Some of us, it might be fairly early in the morning, we might not have done much yet, so it's a good idea to get our body moving gently. Others of us, even if it's later in the day, we might have been sitting around not moving much. So it's good to just get things moving gently as we get started. We'll move out to our elbows, so making circles from our elbows. Go the other way. Okay, shoulders. So you can keep facing towards the camera probably. I'm a little short on room where I am, so I'm going to turn side on, making large circles. And I've mentioned this in the previous sessions. It's helpful if you think of this circle not just being from the shoulder, but the whole back and side of your body opens and loosens. And we'll change directions, coming the other way. Change arm, other arm, large circles. And we'll go the other way. Okay, waist and hips. And the other way. Knees, so bring your feet together, making circles at your knees. Other way. Ankles. Other way. Other ankle. And the other way. With the neck just tilting forwards, back, forwards, back, forwards, and back. To one side, and the other side. One side, and the other side. One side, and the other side. Coming up to the middle, lowering your hands, letting your arms nice and loose, just twisting side to side, letting the whole body twist. And come back. We'll take a few moments just to settle, just to be aware of our bodies. So have your feet shoulder width apart. Sink your weight just a little, so your knees will naturally bend. You're not forcing them to bend, you're just sitting down, back upright, shoulders open. So you shouldn't have your arms in close against your body, just let them open out so they're nice and loose and relaxed. Head, neck long. Relax your body, tune into your body, see what you can feel in your body. Also tune into your breath. Make your breathing a little bit deeper. A little bit fuller. And feel the movement of your breath through your body. As you breathe in, feel your whole body expand and rise just a little. As you breathe out, feel your whole body contract and sink just a little. So we're going to start with some 5 waves. So breathing in, raising your arms up in front. Breathe out, lower your arms, also sink your whole body. So we breathe in, we rise, our legs rise a little as well. Breathe out, we sink, we become more stable, more grounded, more solid. Breathe in, rise. Breathe out, sink, become stable and solid. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Next, breathe in, raise your arms and open them wide out to the sides. Breathe out. Close with your arms crossing in front, rounding your back a little. Breathe in, open, wide to the sides. Breathe out, close in front. So breathe in, expand, open. Breathe out, close, sink. Breathe in, expand, open. Breathe out, close, sink. Breathe in, expand. Breathe out, sink. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Raising your arms up high. Drifting your hands side to side. So this one is for the wood element. And so we should feel like a tall piece of bamboo, swaying gently side to side, strong but flexible. We feel some gentle loosening through the sides of our bodies. There's tensions there, we just let them go little by little, swaying side to side. Keep breathing deep, relaxed breaths naturally while we do this movement. Just a few more. Lift your hands up, breathe in. Breathe out, turning your hands towards you, lowering down. Breathe in, lift your hands up. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Washing down. Breathe in. So this is rain washing down. Breathe out. So you might feel that gentle downwards flow over the surface of your body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Next. Breathe in, raise your hands in front, draw them back to your shoulders in front of your chest. Breathe out, press and sink. Breathe in. Breathe out, press, sink. Breathe in. Breathe out, press, sink. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Lower your hands. Breathe in, open the hands just slightly to the side. Breathe out, sink. Breathe in. Breathe out. So we've activated very gently all of the 5 element energies. This last one combines and harmonizes them. So now that we've gently activated each of them, we're going to see if we can loosen up and let go of any of the parts that have become stuck or frozen. One more. Last one. So we're going to move into a shaking exercise. So quite simply, we start to shake. Now it's helpful, you can keep shaking. Your main driver of this movement should be your hips. So your hips are turning side to side and it sends the shake right through your whole body. And particularly, you might notice it's particularly loosening around the lower back, which of course is specifically the area relating to the kidneys. So loosening any tensions, any of the energy that may have become stuck and frozen. Then let go of the shaking. We're going to come up onto the balls of our feet and then drop down onto our heels. So we breathe in, come up onto the balls of our feet, drop down onto our heels. Breathe in, come up, raise your shoulders, breathe out, drop down. We're going to repeat that cycle. Breathe in, raising the arms to the front. Breathe out. Sink. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out, sink, become solid, stable, the earth element. Breathe in, rise. Breathe out. Sink. Next, breathe in, rise, open, expand. Breathe out. Come back and close. Breathe in, expand, open, so expansiveness. Breathe out. Breathe in. Expansiveness is one of the qualities of the fire element. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Raising your hands up. Drifting side to side. Wood. Tall, long, and flexible. Lift your hands a bit higher, breathe in. Breathe out, turn your hands towards you. Rain. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, washing down. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, washing down, gentle rain. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in, lifting your hands to the front, back in front of your chest, in front of your shoulders. Breathe out, sink, press, metal. Breathe in. Breathe out. So as we press out, we feel our whole surface become firmer and stronger. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Lowering your hands. Opening to the sides. Breathe in. Breathe out. Harmonizing all five. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. Out. Couple more. Breathe in. Out. Last one. And shaking again. So again, driving from the hips. letting the whole body shake, breaking free any parts that have become stuck, any parts that are frozen. Of course, the shaking's going to go through your whole body, but you're going to particularly notice it through your hips, through your waist, around your lower back. Okay, coming up onto the balls of your feet, breathe in, raise your shoulders, breathe out, drop. Breathe in, raise your shoulders, breathe out, drop. Breathe in, raise your shoulders, breathe out. Good, we're going to repeat one more time. Breathe in and out. Breathe in. Breathe out, sink. Solid, stable, grounded. Breathe in. Breathe out. Opening, breathe in, expand. Breathe out, close. Breathe in, expand, open. Breathe out, close. Breathe in. And breathe out. Raise your hands all the way up. Drifting side to side. Lift up, breathe in, breathe out, washing down. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, wash down. Breathe in, breathe out. Raising up to the front, breathe in, hands back in front of your chest. Breathe out, sink and press. Breathe in, breathe out, sink, press. Breathe in, breathe out. Lower your hands, opening to the sides, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Shaking one more time. Hopefully each time you feel things get a little bit freer. It moves a little bit easier. Break free a little bit more of what is stuck, what is frozen. Okay, coming up onto the balls of your feet. Breathe in, raise your shoulders. Breathe out. Breathe in, raise your shoulders. Breathe out. Breathe in, raise your shoulders. Breathe out. Good. Putting your hands into your lower back. and massaging, circular movements, just massaging in your lower back, basically from just under your ribs down to your waist, just massaging. We've already started to activate this area. We're taking it further, massaging to warm, activate the air energy in the area of the kidneys. Just a little bit longer, bringing warmth, bringing activity to the kidneys and of course to the adrenal glands, helping them to relax, be cared for. And now knocking. So we're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, stimulating all those nerves that come out from the spine, stimulating those thick bands of muscles on either side of the spine so that those nerves are well supported, well protected. And now again, just placing your palms into your lower back, sitting between the ribs and the waist. Deep, relaxed breaths. Letting the energy from your hands sink into your body, relaxing, healing, strengthening. And we're going to bend forwards just a little, and then back with your hands in your back. Reach back as far as you can. Come forwards. Then again, leaning back, using your hands to support your lower back. Forwards and back. Gradually opening up through the lower back, giving it a gentle stretch, a supported stretch. Back. Forwards and back. Forwards and back. Coming up to the middle, keeping your hands in your lower back. We're going to do some circles at our waist again. But with our hands here in our lower back, it's going to focus the stretching activity more into either side of the lower back. It's going to massage the kidneys more as we do this. Loosening up the movement, freeing up those nerves, releasing tensions. We'll try going the other way. Okay, lowering your hands down. Breathe in, reach forward, clasp your hands together. Breathe out, standing up, arms to shoulder height. Breathe in, lower your hands, bend your knees, push your hands back. Breathe out, reach up and back if you're able to. 1 and 2. Breathe in, reach forwards, clasp your hands together. Breathe out, stand up, arms to shoulder height. Breathe in, lower your hands, bend your legs. Breathe out, reach up and back. 1, 2. Breathe in, reach forwards. We're keeping our legs straight as we do this. Only reach as far as you're able to. Clasp your hands together. Breathe out. Stand up, arms to shoulder height. Breathe in, bend your knees. Press your hands back. And breathe out. 1, 2. Breathe in. Breathe out, up to shoulder height. Breathe in, lower your hands. Breathe out, reach up and back. 1, 2. We're going to do this a couple more times. Breathe in. Breathe out, up to shoulder height. Breathe in, bend your legs, press your hands back. Breathe out, reach back. 1, 2. Last one. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1, 2. Okay. We're going to move straight into some water standing Zhangzhuan. So we step 1 foot behind and our arms go in the opposite direction so that we're twisted. If you want to make this easier, you can just put your foot just beside your foot and you can be quite upright. If you want to make this more challenging, you can sink down more. Turn your head to look in the direction of your hands, and we've got a twist running up right through our body, through our legs, right through our spine, out through our shoulders, out through our neck. And this stimulates all those nerves up through our spine. You may also notice that there's like a bit of a squeeze going on down in your kidneys as well. So we're stimulating and squeezing your kidneys. Breathe deep, full, relaxed breaths as we stimulate and strengthen the water energy to make it healthy and strong. And we'll change. So stepping back up to the middle, and we'll step across to the other side. Step your leg behind. Hands go to the opposite side. So you've got a twist right up through your whole body. From your feet, through your legs, right up through your waist, through your spine, through your shoulders, to your neck, to your head. Looking in the direction of your hands. Breathing deep, full, relaxed breath. Squeezing, stimulating the kidneys. Gently stretching, stimulating all of the nerves running out from the spine. Strengthening the water element. Deep, relaxed breath. Then stepping back to the middle. Lower your hands. Breathe in, raising up. Breathe out, lowering down in front. Breathe in, bring energy up the spine. Breathe out, descending in the front of the body. Breathe in, integrating, harmonizing the energy we've stimulated through our whole system. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Couple more. Breathe in. Out. Last one. Breathe in. And out. Placing your hands on your lower dantian, so underneath your belly button. Just letting the energy start to settle, start to gather in your lower dantian. Moving your hands into your lower back. And from here, we're going to pat down the back of our legs, up the inside of your legs, up to your chest, out the inside of one arm, and up the back of the arm. Outside the other arm, up the back of the arm, over the face, over the head, over the neck, down the back, down, all the way down to your feet, up the inside of your legs, up in front of your body, out the inside of one arm, up the back of your arm, other arm, back of the arm, over your face, over your head, over your neck, down, one more time, last time, all the way to your feet, up the inside of your legs, up one arm, up the back of the arm, out the other arm, up the back of the arm, over your face, head, neck, stopping at your waist, bringing your hands back in front. Just stand for a few moments, aware of your body, aware of your breath, and aware of your energy. And particularly see if you notice any change in the quality of your energy after that practice. Okay, I'm going to sit down now. You're welcome to as well if you want. So, I guess I'll start. I'll talk you through a little bit of what we did and why we did things in that order. So some of this may be a little bit technical for some of you, but that's okay. You can follow along. So if you're not muted, if you can mute yourself, that might be helpful. And yeah, there we go. Oh, still switching cameras on us. Why is it doing that? Okay, I think we're set now. Cool. So, oh, Nadina says this was your first Qigong experience. Hey, that's cool. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about why we did it. This might be a little bit in-depth for some of you, but that's okay. You might find it interesting. It'll make more sense later on. Some of you I know already have quite a bit of experience with Qigong, so you'll understand a little bit more what I'm talking about. So, as I've mentioned in other sessions, there's many different ways you can put Qigong practices together. It's like creating a recipe. Is there just one way to make a chocolate cake? Of course not. There's lots of different ways you can make chocolate cakes, and each of them will be a little bit different. Some will be richer, some will be milder, some will be more moist, more dense, and they have different ingredients in them and so on. And so this is not like it's just one practice specifically just for fair, and it's the only way to do it. It's just one combination of practices to work with this. So if we think again about the nature of fear, And if we think about it in terms of the elements, so fear, again, it comes from, essentially fear is a type of overexcitement, and the energy becomes lifted up, and then it becomes stiff and contracted. This is, or either that or very weak, from it lifts up and then it loses all of its strength. So one of the first things that we want is to overcome fear is we want to stabilize. We want to re-earth, re-ground. So with the 5 waves, that's what we started with. We started with the earth. And so instead of being like this, we start to sink, become stable. When you're stable and solid, when you don't feel like everything's moving around too fast, this is a starting point for overcoming fear. You start to feel more calm, more confident. Then if we look further, if we look at the when fear becomes extreme, of course, it goes to freezing. Instead of activity, it becomes frozen. So then what do we need to melt something? Fire. Fire melts. And so in the 5 waves, we start with earth, and then we move to fire, and this starts to release that inwards contraction that comes from fear. So in terms of the 5 element cycles, earth controls water, fire rebels against water. So we're starting first by controlling it, next by rebelling it to break up the areas where it's become too strong and frozen. Then we move on to wood. Wood drains the excess. Again, in terms of the 5 element cycle, it's draining. So we've started by controlling, rebelling, draining, before we eventually start to then, okay, let's bring some gentle water through rather than this overstimulated water, which is manifesting as fear. After that, the next one we move to is metal. And so one of the things that creates fear is when we feel that our boundaries have become compromised. Something has broken through our boundaries, or our boundaries are under threat. We now feel under fear. And so metal strengthens our boundaries. This allows us then to start to maintain a state of not being in fear. Once we have our boundaries strong, we can flow within those boundaries with confidence. So again, for those of you who this is not flying over your head, an interesting example of how the draining cycle can be useful as a way to rebalance one of the elements. Because sometimes you have an element that is out of control. It's too strong. It's gone to excess and to extreme. And the draining cycle becomes very useful to then bring that back down into a healthy balance. So for a few of you, I'm sure that will have made sense. And for the rest of you, that's fine. So after that, we then worked with shaking. I talked about that a little bit. Of course, this is to break up where the energy has become stuck. It's become so stimulated that it's locked or frozen. Looking to nature, you know, if a dog, for example, and other animals as well, dogs, it's really obvious. If they have had a very, very scary experience with a lot of fear, a lot of overstimulation, what do they do afterwards? They shake and they tremor. We shake it off, shake that stimulation off. And this works with us as well. When things have become locked up in our body, we shake it off. So we repeated that multiple times, because sometimes once is not enough. You break some free, and then you get it flowing a bit more, and then you can break a bit more free, and then you get it flowing, and then you can break a bit more free. Raising up and dropping onto our heels creates a specific stimulation. Well, one, it's a tension and release exercise, so it brings relaxation, but the dropping onto the heels creates specific stimulation up through our bones, up through our bone marrow, which is, again, it's related to the kidney element, the kidneys or the water element. So we're creating a sort of a restarting stimulus up through the bone marrow. And then we went into some specific massaging to take care of those kidneys, to help them to release their tension so that they can become healthy and balanced. And finally with the Zhangzhuan at the end. So hopefully that makes sense to some of you. For some of you, again, particularly if it is one of your first experiences with Qigong. It'll be more just about how it felt. Hopefully it felt good. Any questions or comments or anything like that about the practice that we've done today? No, all quiet. People are thinking. That's fine. Okay, are you planning to record these sessions? So I'm recording at least some of them. I did forget to record one the other day, but I think I've recorded all of the others. There might be some that I forget to record or things like that. But so the other ones you can find on the same page on the website that the link to get into this was on. If you scroll down a bit further, I've put links up to the recorded ones. And you can see the ones we've already done. And I am recording this one, so that one, this will probably go up as well. Are you tensing the midsection when shaking? Clayton asks. Not particularly. There is going to be activity there because you need activity to support the movement, but our aim is not to tense and brace. It's just enough activity to facilitate the movement, because if anything, we want that whole area to become looser as we do that. So there needs to be a certain amount of activity, but then but we're actually wanting to loosen that area off. So not bracing at all. Janice says the shaking reminded me of the Hippie Hippie Shake song by the Swinging Blue Jeans. Great, a happy song, definitely not a fearful song. Are you using the same waves but in different sequence depending which elements need to be balanced? You certainly can. That's from Yev. You certainly can use them in different orders or different sequence depending on what you're wanting to balance. It just so happens that for specifically what we're wanting to do for the water element with this practice, that is the standard order that we would do them in, so quite convenient. And the reason I started with 5 waves, one, as I mentioned, the order works very well for addressing this, and it does it gently. If someone is fearful, oh, yep, okay, I'm back. So if someone is fearful, they generally aren't going to respond so well to a strong stimulus. Okay, I'm just going to mute. Let's see. Yeah, generally it's going to be more comfortable for them to respond to a gentle stimulus than a strong one. There are situations where you might use a stronger stimulus to help move through the fear, but for most people it's going to be more comfortable to do it gently, and the 5 waves fits that quite nicely rather than using a stronger stimulus. Okay, so Stuart says, I've previously learned a 5-element movement as a single gesture, but it contains the element of air and not metal. Is this something to do with different schools of practice, or is there more to it? So it's an understanding of what the metal element refers to. We don't have enough time to go too deep. Oh, I just muted that. Okay, we don't have enough time to go into the nature of the metal element, but there is an association between and also air. I'm going to try and mute that again. I don't know why that's coming unmuted. Yeah. Yeah, so there is an association between metal and air. Maybe we can talk about that more another time. So Gerald says, just for clarification, what is the draining cycle? So the draining cycle is the one which drains the previous element. So it takes the energy from it and moves it through, essentially. So it's the reverse order of the generating cycle. Okay, Yev says, do you use a specific number of repetitions for each exercise? Sometimes you can, and sometimes there's specific meaning associated with that. Other times it is simply, you know, the amount that feels good. You know, do you take a specific number of steps when you go on a run? No, you run until you reach the destination. But yes, there are times when you do that. In the black tiger exercise, can someone hurt their back coming up straight? This is from Alessia. It is an exercise that does work on the back strongly. If someone is really challenged with the back, you can modify it to make it easier. So instead of reaching all the way down and then coming all the way up, what you would do is you reach just, it can be a short movement, it doesn't have to be far, and then come up. So you just reach to the distance that they can and then come up. Similarly, instead of reaching all the way back with the arms, if this is, if you know, they really have some weakness through here, instead they can continue just to do this and support it. So a much modified version would be small movement, and then here, and this way the spine is much more supported as you do it. Do you keep only legs straight, or also back should be straight in this exercise going down? Yes, ideally legs and back straight as you go down, and then everything bends as you come back. Cool. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, so
can I ask you something, John? Sorry.
Sure.
At the end of 5 waves, we have harmonization, you know.
Yes.
And in this, I mostly feel the earth energy.
Okay.
Can you explain a little how we harmonize in this exercise?
So when you're doing the last movement like this, you mainly feel the earth?
Yes.
Bye, Janice. Okay, so so that may be specifically to do with how you well, habits with your energy, or how you're focusing it, and that maybe you're focusing more on the sync, which again is partly this. But within this, we actually have elements of all of them, because we have the expand, contract, we actually have some of the washing down, we have some of the consolidating and spreading. So ideally, as we do this, it's a combining of them all. But if you have either some habits or patterns of your own, this can cause you to feel one more strongly than the other. Marcella says, thank you, great class. Lisa, kidney exercise last pose, name which course? Oh, so the standing practice that we did, that's a water zhangzhuan. So it's in the movement and stillness course, which is focused on zhangzhuan practices. Okay, Stuart says, wonderful practice today, John. Thank you so much. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Probably a little bit of more in depth into some of the theory than we'll normally do in these sessions, because well, it was a surface level of quite a bit of theory, which is, you know, often it's good to go deeper into the theory to explain it fully rather than kind of just touch on it. So probably a bit more theory than we'll always cover in these sessions. But I thought for some of you who have been practicing for a little while, you might find that interesting and helpful to understand how, you know, how some of that was put together. But we won't always talk in that level of detail about things. Okay, people are filtering out because we are just after 8. People probably have other places to be. Does anyone have any requests, particularly for another upcoming session? Or of course, you know, I can choose other things to do, but if you do have a request, you can let me know and I'll see if we can fit in a session around something. 12 rivers. Margaret would like something around the 12 rivers. That's certainly a possibility. Someone else says 12 rivers as well. Okay, cool. All right, thanks everyone. I think we'll finish the session now. Look forward to seeing you on another one in the future.